Patreon page. Here we will provide you with the sports betting tips, picks, and information in order for you to become a successful gambler. We have 5 packages that I think really do an incredible job of providing the information tailored to you, what you want, and what your sports betting needs are. For more information, reach out to the TWSN team, but we have a ton of stuff coming your way. Content from fantasy football, sports betting for UFC, NBA, NHL, and of course, the NFL. We are so excited to be able to bring this service to you, and let us know if there's any more information you need.
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down on.
It's time!
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down on.
It must be a special show when you hear the intro song twice. But that's what we got today for you guys. Here for the UFC TV show, I'm your host, CEO of the Right Way Sports Network, Malik Wright, joined with my co-host, TWSN's lead MMA, co-lead MMA analyst. We got Mr. Michael Daly in the building, also the co-host of Strikes and Submissions, which you can catch every single Thursday night. We've got Daniel Alameda, the Cali kid who's in Arizona, but right now he is located in Denver, Colorado, because he is going to a football game tomorrow. We've got Dash Pederson, we've got Mack Johnson, and we've got the kid who talks a lot of trash, but never seems to back it up. Nader Assaf joining us all the way from Chicago. Guys, we have a jam-packed show, and I got to say, it feels good to be back. It's been a long time since we've jumped on a show together, because it's been a long time since we had a UFC card. A lot of stuff to get into, huge jam-packed card, but before we jump into all of that, make sure you guys go subscribe to the TWSN YouTube channel. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers. We can't thank you enough. Download the TWS mobile app. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. With that being said, we're going to jump right into it. Jon Jones, as we all know, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, UFC light heavyweight of all time, in my personal opinion. And some would even argue the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. We know he, in the past, he had legal troubles. Well, Jon Jones was in Las Vegas recently because him and Alexander Gustafsson got inducted into the Hall of Fame for their great fight that they had the first time around, only to be bombarded with the news that Jon Jones was arrested for domestic violence issues. And at this point, no one, I don't think, can say that they're really shocked at the outcome. But Daly, I kind of want you to weigh in on this. What do you think that this does for his future? We know the guy was preparing for a UFC heavyweight comeback fight showdown against either Francis Ngannou or Cyril Gane in 2022. What does this mean for Jon Jones' legacy? Do you think the UFC is just better off scrubbing their hands with this guy, or do you think that he can – I mean, it feels like we're having the same conversation over and over again, but do you think he can get it together, essentially?
I think, Malik, this is the last we will ever see of Jon Jones associated with the UFC. The reason being, the UFC has had the leverage ever since he vacated his light heavyweight title, moved up to heavyweight. They have had the leverage. And now he is making it hard for them to, one, schedule a fight, because now there's no incentive for them to book a fight in Vegas, because look what happened. It's hard for them to do any business with him in Vegas, pretty much anywhere. At this moment in time, I think the UFC, what they need to do, get him help, or have him get himself help, because right now it's not good what's happening with him.
Yeah, and it sucks because this is a guy with so much untapped potential, and I feel like there's so many big money fights, and this is a guy who, quite honestly, I think could run another division in the heavyweight division, quite possibly. And he got a huge fight. I know some people want to see Francis Ngannou. I personally want to see the showdown between him and Cyril Gane, because they're two technicians at what they do. Dash, what are your thoughts on this whole Jon Jones situation? What should the UFC do? And then I'm gonna hand it over to Mac, Nader, and then we're gonna end it off with Daniel, and we're gonna get into the UFC 266 card.
I think Michael's just about right. I think that Jones is looking like he's not going to come back to the UFC. As much as I want him to, he was one of my favorite fighters when I was really getting into the UFC. But, I mean, he's had too many issues at this point. The last time we saw him in the octagon, he looked like a more calm, more centered person. He had a completely different vibe about him, I guess, than he did when he was younger and when he was having more drug-related problems, more criminal issues. So I think this is a regression for him, and I don't think it's one that Dana White is going to like at all. And I think it could lead to, Jon Jones not fighting in the UFC again at any weight.
Mac, this is your first time joining us live on the TWSN YouTube channel and the TWSN pre-show for one of these pay-per-view events. But Mac is one of our MMA writers here at TWSN, does some great work. Check out all his work here at TWSN.net. Mac, what are your thoughts on this, my man?
It's sad. I hate to see it. I love Jon Jones. I've been watching the sport for the better part of my life, and he's been a big part of it for that whole time, which is sad. I do think, though, that it is good news for him that they just announced that he doesn't want to fight till the second quarter of 2022. I think that gives this situation a little bit of time to kind of fizzle down.
Mm-hmm.
I do also think it's in his favor that he is Jon Jones.
Yeah.
You've seen Dana White kind of go around these situations with guys like Conor McGregor before and Jon Jones before. So if there's anybody who's going to stick with the UFC and still get a great fight when he does come back from the situation, it's going to be Jon Jones.
So you don't have him showing up in Bellator anytime soon?
No, not a chance. Not touching that.
All right, Nader Assaf, what do you think?
It's just really unfortunate. Jon Jones has a lot of potential when it comes to these new matchups. People have been dying to see him and Francis Ngannou. I prefer to see him fight Cyril Gane. He wants to fight the winner of those two guys matching up. And this just gives the UFC more leverage on the situation with him. Because, now that he's been having issues criminally and what happened in Vegas the other night, it's just really unfortunate to see because he's been back and forth with Dana White. People have offered him Stipe Miocic, and he doesn't want to fight Stipe. He wants an immediate shot at the belt the heavyweight division, And I'm not going to lie, these past few fights, he's been a more calm person. I really thought we could see Jon Jones change into a better person outside of the octagon. But after this, it's just really unfortunate. And it definitely gives the UFC more leverage when it comes to his pay and potential matchups with the heavyweight division.
And Daniel, take us home.
Yeah, not much more I can really add except the fact that Jon Jones and the UFC right now are in two complete different places, right? UFC, they've proved the past year and a half that they can do it without him. They don't need him, right? They're already creating these matchups in the heavyweight division, in every other division. They're already on a rise. So right now, just creates more leverage for them. I like to see Jon Jones back, but the reality is Dana White knows he can do it without Jon Jones.
Absolutely. Well, at the end of the day, guys, we hope that the situation gets sorted out, whichever way that looks like. But that being said, like I said, we have a jam-packed UFC 266 card we have to get into. We've got the debut of Mac. We should have played the song Return of the Mac, but I guess it wouldn't have. The Anthony Lionheart Smith, and certainly he had a great victory last Saturday over Ryan Spann. But with that being said, we're going to jump right into the UFC card, guys. We've got Jonathan Pierce taking on Omar Morales. Michael Daly, start us off with this one. What are your initial thoughts on this fight? Who you got going to? From there, we're going to go to Daniel, Dash, and then the order can follow as far as that goes.
I have Omar Morales getting the job done. This was a fight that it was put together kind of last second in the past week. Not too many people thought it was going to happen, but it did. And it's one of those fights that because it's the opener for a 6-hour card, a lot of people overlook it. And I would advise you, don't overlook this fight because Omar Morales, yes, he's an opener, but he's a very skilled veteran in the UFC, has been with the UFC since 2019, had a fight in Bellator in 2018. The guy knows what he's doing, and I think he's going to pull off a submission against Jonathan Pierce. Jonathan Pierce, in my eyes, I just don't think has what it takes to battle off either a submission or if it stays on the feet, I still think it favors the Venezuelan fighter, Omar Morales.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Morales here. But the reality is I think Pierce is the strong Pierce. And, yeah, I really know, the interest of fight, but I'm going to go with Morales here.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off that and just go Morales. I think he's going to get it done by knockout or TKO, though. I don't think he submits Jonathan Pierce. I do like Jonathan Pierce as a fighter. I think he does have a couple more fights in him in the UFC. I think that this is a tough matchup for him. And I think Morales is, he's going to get it done.
Yep, same thing for me. I got Morales. I think he's just a more well-rounded fighter. I'm with Michael, though. I think he gets it done via submission.
I have to agree with all you guys. I believe that Omar Morales will just use his reach advantage over Pierce, which is, I believe, a 3-inch reach advantage. He'll just be able to keep him off and make sure that Pierce doesn't close the distance. I think wherever the fight goes, he has the advantage. I have him by a unanimous decision win, but I won't be surprised if there's a stoppage.
Yeah, I got Morales too. I'm going with him in this fight. Like I said, I just think this is too last minute, and I think he's the overall better fighter. Want to keep it going. Matthew Simelsberger steps back to the octagon after his loss against Chaos Williams, and he will be taking on Martin Sano, who is the best friend of Nate Diaz. Daly, I'm gonna let you start this one off.
The Diaz crew, they might get a loss in this matchup. Simelsberger is someone that, yes, he lost his last fight to Chaos Williams, but I really like the way he mixes up his striking, and I think that's going to be a problem for Martin Sano. I've been watching Sano since he was in the World Series of Fighting. The guy struggles with close encounters. He gets pressed up against the cage. At times he gets taken down. If Simelsberger is able to keep this standing on the feet, I think he cruises to a unanimous decision victory. Simelsberger, he has a lot to learn from that Chaos Williams fight, but Chaos Williams is a special athlete. I don't think Martin Sano is that type of athlete, and Martin Sano just doesn't have the experience to be able to battle someone who's more talented and more gifted than him. So I have to go with Matthew Simelsberger.
Nader, what are your thoughts on this fight? This it's tough, a great fight here.
Well, not really, but I think Matt Simelsberger just gets it done in dominating fashion. He's the minus 500 favorite, and it's for a good reason. In my opinion, Sano doesn't really have a career in the UFC. I think that he's out of the UFC, if not in this fight, and one more fight, even if he does get one booked. I believe he hasn't fought in 4 years, and wherever this fight goes, Simelsberger has the ability. He has more power, better striking, and if Sano were to win, it's most likely through a potential, wrestling and ground and pound, because I do believe that Sano has some solid, not the best, but some solid ground and pound. But in the end, I do believe that Simelsberger is a better wrestler than Sano, a better striker than Sano, and just an overall much, much better fighter than him.
Yep, I got the same thing. Simelsberger is just a bigger, stronger man. He's a more imposing individual than Sano, and I don't think he's going to be able to handle that. I've got a unanimous decision.
Yeah, I think this was a really interesting fight to me when I was watching when I was watching film, because Simelsberger versus Chaos Williams was one of my favorite fights from watching everybody on the card. I think that was a phenomenal fight, and I loved Simelsberger in there. And then the polar opposite of watching Sano fight, I watched a 3-round fight, and by the halfway through the second round, Sano was out of gas. I think Simelsberger walks in. I think he knocks him out. I think he's going to catch him with the right hand, and Sano's not going to be able to do anything about it. I think it's going to be it could very well be a first-round finish here.
Back in the day, there used to be a television show. I forgot what it was called, but the main guy on the show, and somebody can look this up for me, he used to yell out, "Dynamite!" Right? That I don't remember the exact name of the show.
Oh, Good Times.
Good Times, right?
Yeah, Good Times.
It was what was the guy's name? Smokey or something like that. You see him on commercials now. He's doing like the like life insurance commercials and stuff like that. And he's like, "Dynamite." Yeah. Well, when I say that, Matthew Simelsberger, that's what he has in his hands. I saw Matthew Simelsberger knock out Jason Witt in a devastating fashion. And I can't help but feel and I mean this most respectfully. Dorian says, I am the greatest at disrespectfully respecting a fighter. Respectfully disrespecting a fighter. That's what Dorian usually says I'm good at doing. Martin Sano's in this fight because he's friends with the Diaz brothers. It's simple as that. That's why he is on this card. And, he might shut me up and go out there and win. I don't see that happening. Matthew Simelsberger is a hard guy to put away. He's a tough fighter. And to be completely honest with you, I agree with Dash. I don't think this fight makes it out of the first round. I think this is going to be probably a devastating knockout, to be completely honest with you. I expect it to be that because Martin Sano hasn't fought in 4 years. He hasn't fought in 4 years. So you have to wonder, has he been training? No. I mean, we saw him in a lot of TMZ videos alongside Nick Diaz on the strip where they're both drunk and stuff like that. These are genuine concerns that I have for the lead up to this fight. So at the end of the day, Matthew Simelsberger, this seems like a fight that the UFC put together for him to get back on track. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think that Simelsberger is going to dominate him. I think that I'm placing a bet on Simelsberger winning in the first round. And the biggest thing is,
Okay. Not sure what happened there, but just as Daniel's about to give us his illustrious prediction for the fight, he cuts out. Not sure what's going on there, but guys, we want to keep the fight going. I guess sounds like Danny was going the Matthew Simelsberger route anyway with us. But anyway, last minute fight was put together. Cody Brundage is fighting Nick Maximoff, another guy from the camp of the Diaz brothers. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this fight. It's funny because they asked Nick Diaz. They said, Nick Diaz, what do you think about your two fighters on the card, right, that are from the Diaz camps, and Maximoff and Sano? He didn't even mention Sano. Like, he completely said, but Maximoff, he says he thinks has really big-time potential in the UFC. So it tells you what they think about Sano. Just wanted to touch on that for a brief second. But, Mac, we're going to let you start this one off. What are your thoughts on Nick Maximoff going against the last-minute replacement in Cody Brundage because Carl Robertson had to pull out?
I've got Nick Maximoff all the way. I had him against Robertson. I don't think Brundage is going to be ready on short notice. Maximoff has been training with the Diaz brothers, like you said. He's ready for this. I think he's 6-0, but I think he's certainly ready for this challenge. I think he'll probably finish it by second or third round submission.
Okay. Dash, what about you?
I got Maximoff submission as well. I had that against Roberson. I have that against Brundage. I think this will be the first win of the night for the Diaz camp.
Nader.
I have to agree with Mac and Dash here. Maximov is just a really, really good fighter when it comes to his ground game. I do believe that there will be a stoppage in this first, second, or third round. I think he can get it done really early if he really wants to. Even if Brundage did come in with it expected his fight and didn't come in on short notice, I still would have picked Maximov. But I'm really excited to watch him fight because, in my opinion, he's a really good prospect, and I'm excited to see what happens in the future. And it starts today at UFC 266.
And Daly, are you going with Maximoff as well in this fight to take this one home?
I am going with Maximov. At first, I thought Cody Brundage could get a little bit of Terrence McKinney going on here, where you make the jump from LFA on short notice, you take the fight on a pay-per-view card, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Maximov is too skilled. Maximov looked very good in his Dana White Contender Series on November 17th of last year. I think he is going to hand Cody Brundage his first career submission loss.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I try to steer clear of fighters who accept fights on short notice like this because it tells me that they know something that we don't know. I'm going Maximoff in this fight, not overly confident with this pick, honestly. He should win this fight, but would it shock me if Cody Brundage also knocked him out? No, because you got to look at guys like who had that type of power, like a Terrence McKinney and stuff like that. And I remember me and Daly were sitting talking when Terrence McKinney fought Frank. I forgot I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I said I don't know. I think Terrence McKinney might get the knockout. I said that's what I'm feeling in this fight, and everybody's like, no. Frank's gonna win this fight, and sure enough, McKinney went in there and knocked him out. And I feel like this could be one of those similar situations. The same reason why we're saying Maximoff should win this fight because he's prepared and stuff like that. There's also a reason why Cody Brundage took this fight. There's also something that he saw about this matchup that he feels like there's an opening, right? It's not like Maximoff is like a Khabib Nurmagomedov or someone like that where you can just hold it to the ground and just do whatever they want with you. He should win this fight. I'm going with him to win this fight. Not overly confident, but we want to keep it going, guys. Daly, you can pronounce it. You are the greatest name pronouncer here for us here at TWSN. I'm not going to try to pronounce this guy's name, but you certainly can, my man.
Uros Medic.
Yeah, there we go. Uros Medic is going against Jalen Turner. Daly, you are great at pronouncing names. Hopefully, you're great at predicting fights as well. Who you got winning this fight?
I hope I'm right on this one because I have Medic winning. Medic has 5 either knockouts or TKOs on his record, 5 finishes. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to get a 6th this evening because as tough as Jalen Turner is, and yes, he got a submission victory, there are holes in his game. And I think Medic has the skills to puncture those holes and land a shot that Turner doesn't see coming. So I have Uros Medic getting a clean second round TKO victory over Jalen Turner.
Nader, what about you on this one, man?
Have to agree with Michael here. Medic is a really, really good striker. And I'm not saying that Turner isn't, but it's just a tale of being a good striker and being a great striker. And Medic is a great striker. The volume at which he throws his strikes at, he has a lot of different attacks that he can throw at Turner. And Turner doesn't really have amazing defense. He absorbs 4.37 significant strikes per minute. And that's not necessarily great by any means.
It sounds like video game numbers. It sounds like almost you against me in UFC 4. That's what it sounds like.
No, it just sounds like me knocking you out with Chuck Liddell, but we're not going to talk about that. But so yeah, I'm not confident in Turner winning this fight. I do believe that it will be a stoppage just because of how great of a striker Medic is.
Yeah. Mac, what do you think about that one, my man? Who you got?
I'm right there as well. Turner's no pushover, that's for sure. He definitely looked good against Brock Weaver last time he went out. But I don't think he's ready for Medic. And especially with Medic's length, that's one of Turner's advantages in most of the guys he's fighting, is that he does have a supreme reach advantage, and he doesn't have that on Medic. Yeah, I got second round TKO.
Dash, I know you're the one that comes in with different takes every now and again. I'm getting the feeling that you're not going to have a different take on this one.
No, I'm not going to have a different take on this one. I do think this could be the fight of the night, though. I really, really do actually like this. It's giving me it's reminding me of last UFC card's fight of the night, which was Bobby Green versus Raphael Fizzy. I think that this is two strikers that could go at it. And while you guys are talking about there could be a finish, I think this could be one of the few times that both of these guys go the distance. I think that this could be an absolute slugfest. Neither one of them's able to put the other one out. And by the end of it, they're just swinging everything, and there's 200 significant strikes landed. So I think this could be a really, really fun fight to watch. And yeah, I think this could be – this is my potential fight of the night. So I really like this, but I do have Medic walking away with the W here.
He joins back in time just enough to give us his opinion on this. Daniel, who you got? Uros Medic versus Jalen Turner. Who you going in this fight?
I'm gonna take Medic here. I don't know what the odds are because I'm looking to play some bets today. But I think Medic here, he's 7-0 right now. I think he's gonna take this win here.
Okay. I could tell you right now, everyone's saying Uros Medic is winning this fight. I'm not going to say that. I think Jalen Turner knocks him out.
Oh.
I think that, listen, he has the reach advantage in this fight. I think that there's something to be said about octagon time and UFC octagon time. And I certainly give Jalen Turner the edge there. He's the more experienced fighter here. Listen, wisdom says go with Uros Medic, right? But for that exact reason, it's been too many times where I've seen guys get in the octagon and he's the heavily favored guy and he's expected to win. But we're not like you said, Mac. Jalen Turner is no pushover. And I wonder, if Uros Medic isn't able to put a guy like Jalen Turner out, what will his confidence look like? What will his confidence look like if Jalen Turner is still standing after the first round, right? If I'm not mistaken, Daly and Mac, you guys can confirm with this, Uros has fought one time in the UFC, right? And that was he finished his opponent in 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Well, Jalen Turner has much more octagon time than that. I just always wonder about the guy when the opponent is still standing there in front of you. What does his cardio look like? What will his cardio look like in the second round? Listen, at least with Jalen Turner has a submission victory in the UFC on his record. He also has a knockout victory in the UFC on his record. So I know it makes sense to go as Uros here, but something's telling me Jalen Turner is going to finish this guy or win by decision, because you also have to take into account, if you're so used to putting fighters out in the first round and early and stuff like that, what happens when you do get to the judges' scorecard? What will your cardio look like? Jalen Turner at least can fall back and grapple the hell out of him in the third round, just to keep it to the judges' scorecard. I don't think Uros Medic is going to finish him, and honestly speaking, I think that might be his only path to victory. If it's not a first round finish, I would live bet Jalen Turner, in my honest opinion. So that's just my take on that. I know you guys are probably shocked about that. Probably didn't think I would be the one to go there, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on Jalen Turner here in this fight.
Look what happened with Bobby Green and Fizzy. When Fizzy gassed out, Bobby Green took advantage of that third round. So it's not a bad pick. I understand.
Roxanne Modafferi, going against Talia Santos. I almost butchered your name, but I did not. Roxanne has a lot of miles, man. What is this? Her 30. So this is her 40. This is what fight is this for coming up, Daly?
I think she's closing in on 50.
50?
Yeah, I think it might be her 49th because she talked about how she met Nick Diaz 17 years ago, and
yeah, she's like it's crazy to see her on on her Twitter and stuff like that. She's totally fanning over some of these fighters right now. It's kind of fun to see. But who we got in this fight? Talia Santos going against Roxanne. Dash, I'm gonna let you start this one off.
I got Talia Santos by decision. This is these are two fighters who just typically go the distance. They're not really finishers, but they're both skilled fighters. They've been around for a while, but Modafferi has not impressed me. She seems at this point kind of like just the UFC vet to keep around to fill cards up. I don't think she has any bright future in the UFC. And I mean, Santos doesn't necessarily either. Don't get me wrong, but I got her by a decision.
That was
and I think that it won't be super close. I'm learning from somebody, you know.
Yeah, from somebody. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was disrespectfully disrespectful. She's just a fighter that the UFC keeps around to fill cards up. Wow. Mac, who we got in this fight? I like Dash bluntness.
Yeah, I'm not quite that blunt, but I got Talia Santos by decision as well. I love Roxanne Modafferi as a person. Yeah, I do think she's on her way out in the UFC in that respect. It was really cool to see her get together with Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler. I know that she was getting into fighting originally because of Robbie Lawler, so that's cool to see them on the same card. But I don't think she's going to come out with the win tonight.
Nader, let's keep it going. If we all agree, let's just keep the card moving.
Yeah, I have Santos. I think that Modafferi is just gatekeeping at this point, saying and doing what Paul Felder didn't want to do. So I have Santos winning and a strong unanimous decision, respectfully disrespecting her.
The shade is real today. Danny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same thing. A better all-around fighter, and she's pretty much a gatekeeper right now. So I'm going Santos.
Daly.
I agree. There's not much more for me to add, but I do disagree with Dash. He kind of poo-pooed the idea of Talia Santos being a legit flyweight prospect or contender. I think she can be. If you beat Molly McCann and then you turn around last December, beat Jillian Robertson and Roxanne Modafferi, you're in contention.
But that being said, those three fighters you named are all on their way out of the UFC. Not
McCann, though. McCann's pretty solid.
McCann is solid at being tough, at being durable. But McCann is not. Listen, I hear you, Daly. I hear you on this one. But Molly McCann, didn't she just recently fight?
Yeah, September 4th. Yeah,
she fought against. Forgot the girl's name. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I think both of those fighters, respectfully, even if you want to say Molly McCann isn't on her way out the UFC, I'm sorry, she's not actually fighting for any belt. She's not in any title contention, right? She's not.
I mean, hey, no. we got somebody challenging Valentina for a belt here that I think is not that much better than Molly Meatball McCann.
I disagree with that, but I also think that Molly McCann at this point in her career she's a tough fighter. She's a durable fighter. If you beat Molly McCann, yes, that shows that you actually belong in the UFC. That actually shows you have some type of skill. But Molly McCann, by no stretch of the imagination, is an elite or a top fighter in this division. She's not at this point in her career.
But Malik, though, I think in order to get to that point of being elite, you have to beat someone like her. She's a great name to put on your record. Maybe not Modafferi.
So she's a gatekeeper. So she is a gatekeeper.
Not really, though, because but
no one's expecting. Listen, if you're trying to build up a UFC fighter, right, especially in this division, and you look at it. And you're like, we want to get this person to title contention at some point in time. You would place them. You would put them against Molly McCann. You just would.
Yeah. But gatekeeper has a negative connotation. I still think Molly McCann has a chance to be a serviceable contender. I don't think she's a gatekeeper.
Dominic Cruz is a gatekeeper, and Dominic Cruz is one of the best.
Now you have me wanting to look at. Now you want me having to look into Molly McCann right now. Now you have me wanting to look into Molly McCann. Molly McCann's. Okay. Some of these wins on her record, Diana Belbita. Come on now. Molly McCann did beat Ariane Lipsky, who just had a dominant performance last week. and she beat Jillian Robertson. I mean, everybody's beating Jillian Robertson at this point in her career, but
Respectfully.
respectfully at that. But outside of her last victory against Ji Young Kim, Molly McCann has not won in the UFC since 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, against Priscilla. No, Ariane Lipsky would. No, Diana Belbita. But that's all right though. I think it's fine for someone like.
I just had to pull that up because I'm pretty sure I'm not being like she has not reached KK's level for me. She is not. I don't think anybody will reach.
We don't talk about KK. We don't talk about KK.
Anybody will reach KK's level for me. But Molly McCann, okay, I'll leave it at that. I'm wrong. I'll be wrong. Molly McCann is not she's not washed yet per se, but she's not good.
But she's a big name though for the flyweight division, and you beat her. I think it helps. That's all I'm saying.
She's a good name to have on the resume.
Yeah.
Sure. What were did we all give our takes on this fight?
Yeah, I think we did.
All right. So Talia Santos, we all got. Chris Daukaus is taking on. Here we go. I'm gonna say it. Shamil Abdu Rakhmonov. There we go.
You got it. Yep.
I'm not bad. Shamil Abdu Rakhmonov is taking on Chris Daukaus. I'll start this one off. I think Chris Daukaus, this is a fight that the UFC knows what they're doing. This fight fell apart 3 times. Shamil had got COVID at one point. Shamil has also pulled out of several UFC fights. He's 40 years old at this point, hasn't fought in 2 years. It seems to me that Chris Daukaus, this is the fight that they wanted to make for a specific reason. I think it's the same reason why, not trying to disrespect some of these older fighters, but these gatekeepers. Chris Daukaus is supposed to win this fight. This is the fight that the UFC made for him specifically to win this fight. This is also his full training camp. We know the guy has good ground game. He's also a phenomenal boxer, throws great combinations. One of the few heavyweights that can do that, him and Tom Aspinall. It seems like they're being brought along slowly. And I actually think that the next logical fight is probably those two going head to head. But I think Chris Daukaus wins this fight. Shamil has a lot going wrong, I think, now for him. He just had COVID a few weeks ago at this point. I don't know what his training looked like. I don't know what this has done for him, but I think Chris Daukaus in his first training camp since retiring as a police officer, I think that he wins this fight. I think he also knocks Shamil out, to be completely honest with you. I think he gets a knockout in the first or second round on his birthday. So I'm going with Chris Daukaus to win this fight. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I mean, Chris Daukaus has knocked out his opponent in the first round the past 3 fights, right? So Chris Daukaus is going up against a 40-year-old, and the odds right now for just a straight-up knockout are plus 130. So I'm going to take that plus 130 Chris Daukaus, and I think first round is a little tough because Shamil is a great grappler. I think maybe he can last the end of the first round.
He's a good grappler,
serviceable. Serviceable is a better word.
He's better. He's more better at like pressing his body up against you and hold you up against the fence. That's what he likes to do. I don't really think he's necessarily a good grappler. Like you would think that, you see where he's fighting out of and stuff like that. You would think that, okay, these guys are elite, but at this point in his career, 40 years old, maybe if this was Shamil before, because Shamil does have some impressive victories on his record as well. Yep. He does. Let's not discredit that. But again, you got to wonder what's the wear and tear on the chin look like. Got knocked out by Derek Lewis. I don't think Shamil wins this fight, though.
Yeah.
Nader?
I agree with you guys. And, Shamil, he's a serviceable grappler, as you guys said. He's good in the clinch. But there's just these new wave of heavyweights that are coming along. Guys like Cyril Gane, guys like Tom Aspinall, guys like Chris Daukaus, who are just faster than all these guys. Guys that can just – it's a new era of heavyweights that I'm excited to see. And I think that he gets it done with a knockout. And it's funny because his odds to get a knockout are higher than some of the odds of fighters to just win in general. Like a lot of these fighters have odds of being, like minus 115. Even I believe the Hooker and Nasrat fight that we're going to get to later, their odds are really, really close. So I think that Daukaus is going to be having one of the more convincing wins on this card, to say the least.
Something that's also concerning, I think this is one of the lightest I think Shamil's weighed in at personally. And Chris Daukaus, I mean, everyone thought during the lead-up to this fight, Chris Daukaus was going to come in as a smaller fighter. He's not. He weighs 250. Shamil weighed in at 235. So you got to wonder what the long-term effects, long-term ramifications that COVID was, what it actually did to him. Because for Shamil to weigh that amount, that's not normal for him. That's not typically the weight he walks in at. But Mac, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much just what you guys said. It does kind of feel like the UFC are kind of lifting up Daukaus and Aspinall as the next generation of heavyweights behind Cyril Gane. And I do think that this is just one fight in the right direction for Daukaus. I think Birthday Boy gets the win.
Yes, sir. Dash?
I mean, I think this is going to be really similar to Daukaus' last fight. I mean, he fought Andrei Arlovski, who is a guy who wants to do pretty much the same thing Shamil does. He wants to put you up against the cage, take you down, beat you on the ground. And Daukaus just didn't let it get there, and he pieced them up. And I think that's pretty much exactly how it's going to go here. I don't think Shamil's going to get him to the ground. Daukaus is surprisingly good at takedown defense from what I've seen so far. I don't think Shamil is the guy who's going to come in and just start dominating him.
You're not that guy, pal.
Exactly. And so I think a COVID-stricken 40-year-old Shamil is not going to be able to do much against up-and-comer like Chris Daukaus. I got KO.
I don't think Chris Daukaus has great takedown defense.
No, it's serviceable though. It's serviceable.
If I was Shamil, I mean, we know that Kyle Daukaus and Chris both, and his brother is actually fighting on the next card. We know that these guys are also, they're one of their few heavyweights that are actually good in jiu-jitsu as well. So like I personally wouldn't go there with them. I think that Shamil's best route to victory is to grapple F him their whole fight, or to either potentially get a knockout. And I don't think that happens. But Daly, what are your thoughts? Take us home on this fight.
None of you guys have brought up the fact that Shamil Abdurakhmanov has not fought since UFC 242. That was in September 2019.
Oh, I said that. I said 2 years ago.
Oh, you did say that. Okay. I didn't hear that. But that's a big factor. That is a big factor to take into account. I compare Shamil a lot to someone like Blagoy Ivanov, someone who's very tough, but in terms of skill, they're going to get wiped away by someone who hits hard. And Chris Daukaus hits hard. Chris Daukaus, like you said, Malik, is also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think this is a matchup nightmare for Shamil Abdurakhmanov, and Chris Daukaus should get a convincing win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I could beat Shamil at this point, but yeah, I got Chris Daukaus winning this fight as well. Now we've got Dan Hooker taking on Nasrat Haqparast. Did I say that right?
Haqparast.
There we go. See, I'm not too bad. I've got Nasrat winning this fight, and I want to apologize really quickly. I want to apologize because I was really, really, really low on Nasrat, and his last fight. I want to make sure that because I've been butchering it all day today. He beat Rafa Garcia, but he had a fight before that I was extremely low on him. I can't pull it up right now, but anyway, want to apologize because he absolutely shut me up. Yeah, I think that Nasrat win this fight. We know he's dealing with the death of his mother as well. I just think he has a lot to fight for. And to be honest with you, I'm not as high anymore on Dan Hooker as everyone else is. I think Dan Hooker. I think Dustin Poirier fight took a lot out of him. I think his chin might be gone. Because for Michael Chandler, no offense to Michael Chandler, I'm not that high on Michael Chandler still. I think Michael Chandler's good. I don't think Michael Chandler's great. But for the way Michael Chandler beat him, in the fashion in which he beat him, I think that Nasrat is on the come up, even though I wasn't as high on him before. And I think he's going to stop Dan Hooker in this fight, honestly. And I know that's not the popular decision, and a lot of people are going for Hangman Hooker. I think Dan Hooker's chin is gone. And I think that Dustin Poirier fight took a lot out of him, more than what we actually know. And I think the Michael Chandler fight is pretty much is leading to what's going to be happening in the future. And I'll also add to that. I think that's a reason why Team Nurmagomedov and what's his face? What's the guys come up? The guy the Khabib
Islam Makhachev.
Islam. I think that's why they wanted that fight personally with Hooker. I think they saw a big name, and they also saw that Dan Hooker is no longer the same fighter that he might have been maybe 2 years ago. I really think that Dustin Poirier fight did a lot of damage to his chin, and I think they saw that fight as easy pickings for him, to be completely honest with you. And I think I see this here. It's not going to be easy, but I think Nasrat is going to knock out Dan Hooker in this fight in dedication to his mother. Daly, what are your thoughts?
I could sit here and break down the X's and O's, but I think we have to take a little bit of a deeper dive here. You're dealing with someone in Dan Hooker who was dealing with visa issues and had to train underground or else he would get arrested, or his training sessions would get broken up by the police. And then you're dealing with someone in Nasrat who just lost his mother, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky because when a death in the family happens for a fighter, two things happen. Either you use it as fuel and motivation and you have the greatest fight of your life, or you shut down and realize, you know what? Fighting isn't everything. Family's everything. I think Nasrat is going to put on a world-class performance. I think he's going to blitz Dan Hooker. And I think the fight that Dan Hooker had with Paul Felder, not the Dustin Poirier fight, I think that was the beginning of the end as we know Dan Hooker as an elite lightweight. So I think Nasrat is going to expose him this evening.
Daniel.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I was talking to Nate about this earlier in the week. This is one of the picks I'm really confident in. I'm taking Nasrat. From my opinion, I saw the Poirier fight with Hooker. And as you said, Malik, I think that took a lot out of him, because when I saw that Chandler fight, as soon as the fight started, Hooker was on the back pedal. And obviously Chandler has a presence and he makes you feel, his pressure, but Hooker went nowhere. He was backpedaling. He was circling all around the ring. I think Nasrat's going to do the same exact thing, right? Not to that degree, because obviously Chandler's a world-class fighter. Nasrat hasn't really fought anybody of the caliber of Hooker. But I think styles make fights, and this is pretty much similar style. And I think that Hooker is going to be on the back pedal, same as the last fight, and I'm taking Nasrat here.
Nader?
As much as I would love to take Nasrat in this fight, I'm going to be sticking with Dan Hooker for now. It's just that I have to give a lot of credit to both of these fighters for all that's happened. Rest in peace to Nasrat's mother. That's a very sad moment for him in his life, and I wish him the best moving forward. And, he's had trouble with just a few days ago, I was on Twitter and I'm seeing him hoping that he can get into the U.S. Same with Dan Hooker with his visa issues. And it's been a really tough road for these two. This is my fight of the night candidate. I think that it has the ability to really just, especially with the backstory of how this fight's come to be. But I'm going to be choosing Dan Hooker for now. I think that this is a really big jumping competition for Nasrat, and we just don't know if he's ready yet. Dan Hooker, in my opinion, still a really tough guy. Yes, that Dustin Poirier fight might have taken a bit out of him, but he is still Dan Hankman Hooker. So I'm going to be taking him to win this fight.
Absolutely. Mac, what are your thoughts on this, man?
First off, this is my fight of the night, 100%. I think that these two dudes both have something to fight for, like we were talking about Nasrat's mother, which is so sad. He's got a ton to fight for, but so does Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, with the loss to Nasrat tonight, might be looking for a roster spot in another organization. He had a tough fight with Felder. He loses to Poirier. He loses to Chandler. And if he loses to Nasrat here, he's going to have a tough look for his next fight. I'm not sure who it would be and if it would even be in the UFC. So I've got Hooker. I picked Hooker. I'm going to stick with him. I think this will be an insane fight, though.
Dash, what are your thoughts?
This was one I was not sure about at all. I don't see either fighter having a particular advantage on the other. I think that I do agree that Hooker's chin is a little bit worrisome, but I wasn't impressed with Nasrat, to be honest. I haven't seen what you guys are seeing, I think. So I got Dan Hooker by decision. I don't think this fight gets finished. And I don't really see it being a fight of the night. I think it's story of the night, but I don't really know. This fight really didn't jump out to me in any way. Seems like it should be an interesting fight, and a close fight, but I would stay away from this betting wise, but I'm picking Hooker. I'm really not sold on either one of these guys at this point.
Also, here's the thing to mention: Dan Hooker doesn't have amazing cardio. He doesn't have amazing cardio, and I just wonder, with him flying across the world, not being able to travel, and you could say the same thing with Nasrat, but Nasrat seems a little bit better in that department, in my opinion, than him. Yeah, I think that we're gonna. I think we're gonna get shocked in this one. I think we could see a point where this third round, both these two are gassed as well. But want to keep it going, guys. I know Nader's is loving this next fight. I'm gonna let him kick this one off. We've got Marlon Moraes going up against Merab D. Nader, kick this one off for us. What are your thoughts on this fight, man?
I have, as Peter Yan likes to say, Merab, the decision machine. I'm not going to say his last name. I'm taking the Malik route. I'm just going to call him Merab D. I think that he's going to be able to win this fight. You know, Merab decision machine. I think that he's going to be able to have a really nice, convincing, unanimous decision win over Marlon. You know, Moraes is someone that was a big title contender a few years ago, but I think that he's just lost a bit of his juice that he did have in the bantamweight division. Merab really is fantastic when it comes to setting his strikes up with takedowns. He's like another guy that he just wants to wrestle, but he's also like a much better striker than people think he is because he sets them up so well. Mm-hmm. He's a threat on both ends. Matt Serra and Ray Longo have done a fantastic job with him. He trains with Aljamain Sterling, so he had a partner with him this whole camp. So I have Merab D winning this fight.
I feel bad for Marlon at this point. Marlon, I'll get out of your UFC contract. Go fight for Bellator or something at this point because they're obviously going to treat you as a gatekeeper moving forward, and you're going to be fighting all these up and coming young guys. And I just don't think that's going to be a recipe for success here. Mac, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of piggybacking off what you just said. Marlon Moraes coming off 2 straight losses to Sandhagen and Font. Obviously, 2 very, very tough guys. Mm-hmm. But like we were just talking about, Hooker, that wears on you. And I think a guy like Dvalishvili is going to he's going to tear him down. I think he's a stronger, smarter opponent. I think he's going to ride this to a decision.
I agree. Dash, what are your thoughts?
Dvalishvili wins. I think he sends Moraes out of the UFC. I don't think it's I think it's Marlon Glass-Chin Moraes at this point. It's not looking good. It hasn't looked good for this last couple of fights. And I think that Merab could come in and have a spectacular performance. This is one of my 2 contenders for performance of the night. And I think this could be a statement victory for sure.
Daniel.
Yeah, I think Merab is far better in the cardio department. That's the biggest thing. I think Merab is one of the best in the entire UFC with this cardio, and Marlon Moraes is on the exact opposite side of that. So I'm going to take Merab here. And, pretty much what they said.
Daly, what are your thoughts on this fight, man?
I wish I could disagree with you guys because it's no fun being in agreement. But if this fight was in 2017, any day of the week, I would pick Marlon Moraes, especially after he head kicked, TKO'd, or KO'd Aljamain Sterling, Merab Dvalishvili's teammate. But Dvalishvili, if he's able to fight the way he did against John Dodson, August 2020, I think he's going to cruise to a unanimous decision victory. Anyone who trains with Ray Longo or Matt Serra, their striking is in order, and their grappling is very technical. I think at this moment in time, Marlon Moraes just has too much mileage and tread on his tires. I don't think he's going to get finished. I've seen some people say, he's going to get finished. No, I just think he's going to get blown out.
The decision machine. Remember that name, Rob, the decision machine.
Here's what I'll say. There are avenues. Like early in the fight for Marlon to win this fight. There are certain things about Merab's game that I'm not a huge fan of. Like when he goes in for the takedown, stuff like that, he tends to leave his head a little bit on a swivel. And I certainly think Marlon can catch him. And it wouldn't shock me. This wouldn't shock me. All that being said, if Marlon doesn't catch him early, this is Merab's fight. I mean, I think as soon as Merab gets the first makes contact with him the first time in terms of from a grappling standpoint, I think he'll have the fight. But if he's not able to get in and Merab is able to catch him, Marlon is able to catch Merab, it wouldn't shock me if he put him out or something like that, or if it was like one of those shocking things. But other than that, Merab should cruise to a victory here. Again, this is one of those fights where I think Marlon, you should reevaluate your career in the UFC at this point because it's clearly they're just looking at you as a gatekeeper to get these guys to the next level. And the challenges don't get any easier in the bantamweight division. That's one of the most stacked divisions. So I want to keep it going, guys. Opening up the main card, we got birthday girl Jessica Andrade going against Cynthia Calvillo. Michael Daly, how do you see this one going?
I see Jessica Andrade getting a knockout. The reason being, Cynthia Calvillo had pretty much the world in her hands last November when she was going up against Caitlin Chookagian, and she couldn't get it done. She couldn't get that win done. And to me, if you're not able to get past Caitlin Chookagian, the UFC is going to give you unfavorable matchups even if they're giving you someone who's coming off a loss like Andrade. Andrade hits hard, and I think Andrade is just going to make it a striking matchup primarily. If it goes to the ground, Calvillo has a chance, but Calvillo, I think she's in over her head on this one.
Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much similar. This fight's going to be a stand-up fight, and I think that's bad news for Calvillo. Her last fight, she showed that she can't string together combinations like Andrade can. And obviously Andrade isn't going to be bobbing and weaving, but she's going to stand right in front of you, and I think Andrade takes this victory.
Dash?
All my notes say are pick up, slam. So I got Andrade coming in. I think that this is going to be a pretty dominant performance. I really don't see Calvillo's route to victory here. Even if the fight's on the ground, I still like Andrade. I think that this is a tough matchup for her, and it's not going to go her way. Andrade is going to come in and just slam.
Mac, what are your thoughts on the fight?
I'm right along with you guys. I think Andrade is just stronger. She's better. She's faster. She's quicker. I think she's probably going to end up with ground and pound TKO.
You know, I think everybody has that last loss to Valentina Shevchenko in their minds for Jessica Andrade. Let's say this again. Everybody has that loss to Valentina Shevchenko in their minds. Valentina Shevchenko, she lost to. You look at some of the girls. Let's just talk about some for a quick second. I'm looking at. I want to really dissect Jessica Andrade before I go to Nader and before we cap this one off. I really want to just look at Jessica Andrade's victories in the UFC versus her losses in the UFC. Matter of fact, let's go strictly her losses. Let's talk about strictly her losses in the UFC. Actually, let's go all the way back to 20. Let's go to 2015. Let's start in 2015. She's lost to Raquel Pennington in 2015 by submission in the round 2. Not a bad person to lose to. She lost to Marion Reneau when she was good, who just had a retirement fight, actually. And that was also in 2015. She lost to Joanna Jurchek in 2017. Again, not a bad person to lose to. She beat Tisha Torres. She lost to Weili Zhang. She lost to Rose Namajunas. And now she's fighting Cynthia Cal. Listen, the perfect point of what I'm trying to make is everybody that she's lost to has either been a champion or has been a top 3 contender in the world. Cynthia Calvillo lost to Caitlin Chikagian. I know we're not supposed to do MMA's math here, right? Because MMA math doesn't really do you any good. But did you guys see the fight with Jessica Andrade versus Caitlin Chikagian? And I'm high on Caitlin Chikagian. And this is the first time, I'm usually against picking fighters with a and all of you guys who've done shows with me I'm against picking fighters with certain accounts. But in this one, I think this is the first time where I'm taking on a fighter that has that social media account. Person, this is the first time. I don't know. Just my thoughts. Nader, what are your thoughts?
I mean, if you judge Jessica Andrade on her losing to Valentina Shevchenko, you are insane. I don't know what else to tell you. Valentina Shevchenko, in my opinion, is the best women's fighter in mixed martial arts and one of the best fighters of all time. And if you judge Andrade on that, okay, wait, we could save the Nunez versus, we'll save that for another day. But okay, top 2, top 1, top 2.
You're disrespecting my girl rules. That's all I'm going to say.
Come on now. But, I mean, Andrade, she's fought the best of the best. And Calvillo, I don't think I could call her the best of the best. She's very good, but she's not the best of the best. I think this is going to be a dominant win for Andrade. I don't know what she does moving forward because I don't think she gets an automatic rematch with Valentina, even if she does beat Calvillo.
She's talking about moving down. She's talking about moving back down.
She's thought about moving. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, definitely it's going to help her out. It is her birthday today. Happy birthday to her. And she should get a birthday win along with Dawkins.
All right. Did I go for everybody? Did I go everybody here? Okay. Want to keep it going. This is a fight that's flying under the radar. And it's kind of pissing me off how much it's flying under the radar because I think a lot of people – it's also pissing me off how disrespectful people have been in this fight for a certain fighter. I'm going to let Daniel start this one off. But we've got Curtis Blades going against Jairzinho, Biggie Boy, Rosenstruck. Daniel, who do you have winning this fight?
I'm going with Blades here. I think that he's going to be coming off, that massive knockout. He got put to sleep. He got put to sleep in his last fight. But listen, Rosenstruck, I think that's how you say his name. He hasn't faced a grappler of the caliber of Blades before, right? And I think that Rosenstruck, if he has any chance to win this fight, it's going to be in the first round because his takedown defense is not up to par from what I've seen. So I think Blades has got to take him down. And if this isn't finished in the first round, Blades is going to win this. I'll take a unanimous decision here.
Dash, what are your thoughts on this fight? Biggie Boy going against Curtis Blades.
That's my thoughts. Let's see. It's a first round win for Rosenstruck, or it's a decision, maybe round 3 ground and pound win for Blades. Look, I'm taking Rosenstruck because for one reason, and that's because every fight starts standing up. And he has the power and the accuracy. He's shown his ability to finish. He can hit him with the one strike that just puts Curtis Blades out. And we've seen that happen before. We've seen Curtis Blades go for the takedown, try to force it, and then bink, he's done, right? So I think Biggie Boy is one of the guys who can do that. It's a hard pick for me, but I think it's going to be a great fight. I'll certainly be on the edge of my seat, but at any point, Jairzinho Rosenstruck can just end it right then and there. And so I like him. I like Rosenstruck. That's what I'm taking. It's going to be a great fight, though. This is my other potential performance of the night right here if Rosenstruck gets it done.
Here's again. Curtis Blades wasn't able to take down Derek Lewis, or he did. He might have taken Derek Lewis down. Did he take him down once?
He took him down.
He took him down once, and then he got up, right? And then he didn't take him down again after that.
And then he got shadow round.
I think that Jairzinho Rosenstruck has better takedown defense than Derek Lewis, in my opinion. And I just can't help but feel that when the moment gets big, when the lights get bright, Curtis Blades always, to me, doesn't perform. He doesn't. He's that fighter that's always close, always so close, but doesn't actually get the job done. I'll save my opinion until I get my prediction. Mac, what are your thoughts?
I've got
Can I
Blades.
say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Why is Curtis Blades the ginormous underdog? Why? Or the ginormous favorite, the huge favorite.
Because I think everyone thinks that he's going to
money.
go. I think everyone thinks he's going to go out there and just wrestle, and we have not seen anybody do that to Jairzinho yet. I don't get. It seems like the general public is generally very high on Curtis Blades. He was a massive. I'm pretty sure he was a massive favorite against Derek Lewis as well. I remember I was talking to Daly, and I was like, "Yo, Derek Lewis is going to knock him out. Derek Lewis is going to knock him out." I just had Derek Lewis is going to knock him out, and Dorian was like, "No, Curtis Blades is going to got this one in the bag." I said, "I don't think so. I think Derek Lewis is going to knock him out." Lo and behold, Derek Lewis knocked him out. I just think Curtis Blades, his style of fighting works. It works when you're working your way up in the heavyweight division. I don't think it works when you get to the top of the division because you're not going to be able to grapple, these guys the entire fight. At some point, you're going to have to stand. At some point, you're going to have to strike. And his striking isn't that. Like, he uses his wrestling to set up his striking.
He's good Ben Askren. He's heavyweight Ben Askren. His game is one-dimensional. Like, maybe this is Derek Lewis was Jorge Masvidal 1. Rosenstruck's going to be Jorge Masvidal 2. This is going to be like, I don't love Blades, and I think that the fact that he's such a huge favorite, it's such a trap. It feels just like an absolute trap bet to me. I was talking to Malik about this earlier this week. I was just like, no way this guy is favored this much. Just doesn't make sense.
It does sort of feel like this. Mac, what were you saying though, my man?
Well, I do have Blades, and kind of to piggyback off that, I do think that he's such a big favorite because people have that performance against Gon stuck in their mind. They have that vision of Biggie Boy sitting there absolutely frozen in fear with nothing to do besides take shots. And not that Blades is the type of dude to do that to him, but I do think that a performance like that sticks in people's mind. He had a nice comeback against Augusto Sakai. It was a first-round
Put him out.
Yeah,
Remember,
put him
this
out.
is the same guy in Cyril. He went 5 rounds with Cyril Gane.
But he went 5 rounds, and then everybody was upset because Cyril Gane didn't beat him up enough.
Right.
I wouldn't say that was not an impressive decision. I mean, he got pieced up.
No, he did. He did, but I mean, Cyril Gane is.
Yeah, well, Cyril Gane is Cyril Gane, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's a fight to be like, oh, he went 5 rounds with him because it was not It was not.
Well, what I'm
not
saying is, Curtis Blades wouldn't go 5 rounds with Cyril Gane, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. But I think Curtis Blades is going to use his wrestling to go to win. It's not going to be a thrilling win. I think it's going to be a slow win. Biggie Boy does have that power to put him out, but if there's one thing that Curtis Blades learned from his last fight, I would hope that it's to keep your chin down when you're going for a takedown. So hopefully he can stay away from that.
You'd hope. Yeah,
you would certainly hope.
You'd certainly hope.
If he remembers it.
Yeah, because he did get sent to the Shadow Realm.
Yes.
He definitely did. Nader, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Dash, I'm on the Biggie Boy train too, and I have been since August. I really do think he will win this fight. When I was watching Sakai versus Rosenstrike, I was so impressed with how he knocked him out. It wasn't even his hardest punch. It wasn't even his half to closest hardest punch, and he just shut down Sakai's lights. And when you think about it, you have to see what Jairzinho has been saying. He's happy that Blades is underestimating him. And he's even said that his cardio, something that's been technically viewed as a fault in his game, has improved. And he's even called it one of his biggest powers now. So I'm extremely excited to see what he does. His takedown defense is much better than most people are thinking it to be. Because Curtis Blades, although he's a fantastic wrestler, he's not just going to be able to toy with guys like Rosenstrike, who are big and who have great takedown defense. And when you think about it, Curtis Blades, he even said when he was fighting Derek Lewis, he got annoyed. He got angry. And with guys like Rosenstrike who are waiting to throw that one big strike just like Derek Lewis, we may see Blades get angry again. You never know. People say, oh, I made this adjustment. Oh, I made this adjustment. But you really don't know. He got sent to the Shadow Realm. And I think that Rosenstrike can do it again. And even if he doesn't, I think he can still get a unanimous decision or even a split decision if you want to call it victory. So I definitely have Rosenstrike winning this fight.
Daniel?
I already went.
Oh, sorry. Daly, did you go already?
I did not, no.
Yeah.
I wrote an article this week talking about the importance of this fight, and I think this is a big-time heavyweight fight. Not enough people are giving it its due. The winner of this has a chance down the road to fight for a title. Jairzinho Rosenstrike, his best chance was heading into that February fight against Cyril Gane. Didn't go his way. That's fine. But I think Jairzinho Rosenstrike is going to win this fight because Jairzinho Rosenstrike doesn't mind trailing in a fight. It didn't work for Cyril Gane, but it worked when he fought Alistair Overeem. He was losing that fight until he wasn't, until he landed that big shot. I think this fight is going to start off with a very slow pace. They're going to feel each other out. It'll go past the first round, and then the second round, Jairzinho Rosenstrike is going to land a shot that is going to put away Curtis Blades. I don't see this going the distance. Heavyweights hit hard. I think this is going to be one of those shots that lands on the right button and Rosenstrike puts him away, like he did against Sakai.
I agree. I got Rosenstrike in this fight as well. Guys, it is time. It is time. We've got the return of the underground champ, as I like to call him, and Nick Diaz returning to the UFC octagon after 7 years away for a marijuana charge. He got suspended for 5 years, guys?
5
originally?
years.
Yeah, and as I said on the show, the UFC's come so far from that way, right? You get suspended for smoking a little reefer, smoking a little marijuana, and you got guys doing that during a press conference.
His own brother on the stage.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know who Nick Diaz is, though, I know a lot of people think Nate Diaz is fighting this week because they don't know who Nick Diaz is, and not to compare the two, but Nick Diaz is the better Diaz brother at MMA. He just is, in my humble opinion. I think that Nick Diaz has been in there with far better competition. He's actually fought for championship belts, and he's been in there with some of the best, and he's actually pushed some of the best to their limits. He has a never dying, never given type of attitude. He's coming to fight when he fights you. He's coming to fight, and he's coming to win at that. He's going against Robbie Lawler, a guy he knocked out back in 2004. Nader, I don't know if we were even born yet, but yeah, he knocked him out.
I was -3.
He knocked him out then, and now he's fighting him again. Robbie Lawler seems a little bit more focused. It is concerning that he accepted that weight change at the last minute. I personally wouldn't have, because I think it just it just helps out Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz looks so big at middleweight right now, and Robbie Lawler, I was looking at it. Robbie Lawler has not fought at middleweight since the early 2000s. He just hasn't. So the fact that this fight is now at middleweight, you got to wonder how he's going to look coming into this, especially when he was preparing for a welterweight fight. But I'm excited for this fight. They're dubbing this fight as the people's main event. Michael Daly, I'm going to let you start this one off as our co-lead MMA analyst. Who do you have winning this fight? Do you have Nick? You can't say Nathan like you like to say. Do you have Nicholas Diaz winning, or do you have Robert Lawler winning the fight?
Well, I only go full name for Nathan Diaz because he prefers that over Nate. But anyway, I'm going with Robbie Lawler. The reason why I'm going with Robbie Lawler is I think this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. I don't see this being a very technical fight. I think this is, even at 185 pounds, it's going to be a brawl. And that favors Robbie Lawler. You can say, oh, well, the 15-pound increase in weight favors Nick Diaz. I don't know. I think it favors Robbie Lawler because that power is still there. It would be there at 170. I think it's still going to be there at 185 pounds. Either way, this is a very unpredictable fight. But Robbie Lawler, I think, is going to catch him with something he doesn't see. I think Robbie Lawler is going to avenge that KO loss with a KO win of his own and knock out Nick Diaz and send Nick Diaz into retirement. I'm not a big fan of Nick Diaz coming back after 6 years and really trying to restart his career. I think it's over.
So you have him knocking out Nick Diaz. Let me just ask you a question. What has Robbie Lawler shown you as of recently? He seems like gun shy lately. But let's dive a little deeper into that. What makes you think that he's going to go out there and knock out Nick Diaz?
I don't know. What he did against Ben Askren, nearly winning that fight.
Oh, come on.
No, what do you mean, come on? Because here's the thing. What has Nick Diaz shown us? Nick Diaz has not fought since January 2015. Before then, March 2013. We don't know what we're seeing. At least with Robbie Lawler, we know he hits like a Mack truck.
If he lets his hands go.
I think he will.
Okay. Daniel, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat, right? 6 years is a lot, man. 6 years is a lot. And for me, I'm looking at this, right? 7 years. Speed and quickness is the first to go with age, right? I think the power is going to stay for Lawler. And Diaz his whole game was built around coming forward. I think he's still going to come forward. He still has the cardio. But there's a difference. His speed and quickness won't be there just as much as it was in 2004, right? So if anybody says they're extremely confident in this pick, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. This is going to be a bloodbath. This is going to be a drag it out type of fight. But I'm taking Lawler here. 7 years is a lot, man. 7 years is too much for me.
Show him.
Just wanted to remind people. Once again, I want to remind people.
2004, by the way.
2004. 2004.
That's a vicious.
Nader, you liked that one live, didn't you?
Yep, bro. Yeah.
Background fighters with ads on their shorts.
Yep.
Nader, who do you got in this fight?
Michael, Daniel, you guys are my guys. But nope, I'm choosing Nick Diaz to win this fight. And, it's just, as a new MMA fan, for those of you who don't know, I started watching mixed martial arts and I started following the UFC in March of 2021.
He's lying. He knows so much about so many fighters, about so many different gyms, about fights that happened before he was born. He's lying, guys. Come on now, don't believe it.
I do know a good amount, but the thing is, I've only been an MMA fan for I believe 6 months now. So it's just a lot of beginnings for me, and being able to say that I got to watch Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler fight when I became a fan this year. So I'm really, really excited to watch this fight. And Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz are legends when it comes to cardio. So even if I keep confusing the two. But so even if Nick has like a sliver of what he used to have when it comes to cardio, I do think that he'll be able to win this fight. I just see him outpointing Robbie Lawler. It is a 5-round fight, similar to what Leon Edwards and Nick's brother Nate had a few months ago. So I think he does eventually outpoint him, maybe do, maybe he's like pose on the ground a bit, toy with Robbie Lawler. But I do have Nick Diaz winning this fight.
I think everyone's expecting that Nick Diaz. I think we get a more calculated Nick Diaz this fight.
I do too, but I hope
think we get a cold, calculated Nick Diaz. And I even though we might say his speed is gone, like the Diaz brothers really don't punch like amazingly fast. They're much more, they're volume strikers, but they don't punch like a crazy from a crazy speed.
They don't punch like me. They don't punch like
I think his power is really going to carry over in this fight, and I think he's going to catch Robbie. Robbie's chin is not what it used to be. We've seen Robbie get knocked out through the years, Tyron Woodley and things of that nature, but I don't know. Mac, what are your thoughts?
Well, when you asked me about this fight in the chat about a week ago, I told you I had absolutely no idea, and I still feel pretty much the exact same way.
Yeah.
I picked Nick Diaz, and I do think that it going 5 rounds is definitely in his favor. I think that although he hasn't been fighting in 5 or 6 years, he has been running triathlons, and that would do something for your cardio. Robbie Lawler has not been running triathlons. I think that Robbie Lawler, his last fight against Ben Askren did show that he's still got some pop in his hands, but it didn't show anything cardio-wise, and especially with this being a 5-round fight, I really wonder how that's going to affect these guys. I've got Nick Diaz, but there's not much confidence behind that.
Dash.
The theme of this fight among this panel seems to be unpredictable. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I feel the exact same way. Nick Diaz is somebody who hasn't fought in a long time, right? We don't know what Nick Diaz we're going to get. Malik's over here saying we're going to get a cool, collected Nick Diaz. Other people are saying, look, we're going to get like a just absolute brawl kind of Nick Diaz.
He said. You're not going to get the thug. You're not going to get the thing. He said he wants to do this for the kids and stuff like that. He just doesn't seem like what he wants. I'm serious. He doesn't seem like he did before. He just doesn't strike me as that before. Like usually he had an I don't care type of mentality. Robbie. He seems much more cold. Like even during his interview that he did with Brett Okamoto, he said, "I don't even know why this fight is happening." He was like, "I'm better than Robbie Lawler now." Like he was like, even though you guys haven't seen me fight, I'm better than I'm still better than Robbie Lawler. Like he's the same exact fighter. And honestly, guys, you can pretty much say he is. Robbie Lawler has not evolved through the years. He hasn't.
You can't say that he
has not evolved.
Fighter.
The guy's a brawler. That's what he does. That's what Robbie Lawler, at his core, Robbie Lawler is a brawler. And let me tell you something. When he decides to be more calculated, he does not let his hands go. That's why he lost to Neil Magny. He doesn't let his hands go. He's gun shy. Be gun shy against Nick Diaz if you want. That's all I'm saying.
I think Nick Diaz will win. I do have Nick Diaz putting away Robbie Lawler. I don't think it goes 5 rounds. I think that we could see a round 4, round 5 bulldog choke. That could be the end of it, or like a rear naked. Just Nick Diaz is going to use his jiu-jitsu, I think, in this one. I do think that Robbie Brawler Lawler is going to be able to stand in there and throw the punches. I don't think that either one of them is going to knock the other out. I think that if this fight ends within 5 rounds, it'll be through a submission, but it could very well just go all 5. I really don't know what to expect from this fight. I like to look at recent fights as to help me gauge what's going to happen, and there are none for Nick Diaz. So it's really hard for me to say what kind of fight Nick Diaz will have.
But
we can guess. We can guess all we want. We can listen to what he says.
This is also the Diaz's MO. Even Nate, for instance, will not fight for a long period of time. Listen to what I'm saying, Dash, for a second. Listen to what I'm saying for a second. The reason why, and again, no one can come away from this fight and say ultra confident. What I can go off of, right, is what Robbie Lawler hasn't been. He's been gun shy. He hasn't been. He was willing to go guns a-blazing against Ben Askren. Why? Because Ben Askren
sucks.
Is not known for his striking. So he knew, okay, Ben Askren's trying to take me down, so I'm going to go balls to the wall and try to hurt this guy. He had him hurt. He didn't really submit him, but they called it a submission because Herb Dean is who Herb Dean is. But at the end of the day, the reason why I'm picking Nick Diaz in this fight is because I think that there's something to be said, right? Not only about Robbie Lawler being gun shy as he is now, what is his mentality going into that fight with Nick Diaz, knowing he got knocked flat on his face the last time these two? That's a real thing.
Get it back
guys.
in blood. He's trying to get it
He
back.
he can get it back in blood, sure, no problem. He can try that, right? But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is he has not. The last time these two, stared across, it's not like a Dustin Poirier Conor McGregor situation where Dustin Poirier fought the best of the best while Conor was away dealing with whiskey and fighting Floyd Mayweather and rebuilding his confidence and reestablishing himself. No, Robbie Lawler did become champion. Robbie Lawler also got knocked out. Robbie Lawler also is one of the few victories that Ben Askren has in the UFC for whatever reason that is. Robbie Lawler also lost to Neil Magny. Robbie Lawler also is now training with a new camp where he's trying to be more calculated, which leads to him being more gun shy. Listen, you could be gun shy going to a fight, but if you get caught, if you get hurt, what then happens? I'm inclined to believe that you cannot teach old dog new tricks. And the fact of the matter is, if Robbie Lawler gets hurt, he's going to do exactly what got him hurt the first time they fought, exactly what happened against when he fought Tyron Woodley. When he gets hurt, when he gets stung, he's going to start going balls to the wall, which is going to leave him wide open for a big shot. That's my honest opinion.
A big slap, maybe
a Stockton slap.
Mm-hmm.
Nah,
I think a lot of hype is being put into Robbie Lawler, and also in Nick Diaz respectively too. But at the end of the day, I just think that Robbie Lawler is who he is, and the same reason why Robbie Lawler lost the fight the first time is the same reason he's going to lose the fight this time. He has not. He's the same fighter at the end of the day. He's the same fighter at the end of the day. He likes to brawl, and that's what he said. He said, "I'm looking to go in there and win at all costs and brawl." Okay, you can brawl. You can try and brawl with Nick Diaz as you want. I think Nick Diaz looks better defensively, and I think he gets Robbie Lawler enraged, and Robbie Lawler starts fighting more aggressively and get stopped. That's what I think.
I do see the way, like, if Nick Diaz, if Lawler walks him down and is just trying to brawl, I see Nick feeding into that. That's the thing. Like, yeah, you can say he's going to be cool, calculated, and whatever, but when a dude just comes into his face for the first time in a long time,
do that.
Wow.
But like,
Diaz brothers
he's a street fighter.
Do that.
He's a street fighter.
Have you seen McDonald versus Lawler 2? Robbie Lawler was losing that fight, and that was one of the best brawls, if not the best brawl of all time. And Nick Diaz is not Rory McDonald. I don't think that he's going to be in Robbie Lawler's face, just trying to trade shots with him back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. He's as Malik said, he's going to be cool. He's going to be more calculated. And Nick Diaz is not going to make a mistake that some other fighters have with Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, I think people have a misconception of who Nick Diaz is in their head. He fights at range. He gets in your face. But he does all that to draw responses out of you. And then when he draws a response out of you, you start swinging these looping shots. And Daly's breathing heavy over there. Daly's getting frustrated. Daly hates this take, but Daly, guess what, man? Nick Diaz is going to knock out Robbie Lawler tonight. And guess what? After he does, I just want an apology.
Should we put another shoey on it?
No.
Should we put another shoey?
I'm not doing no shoey. I'm not that. No, I haven't imaged up.
Come on.
Daniel's still shook.
This is all I want to say.
Yeah.
Nick Diaz has not won a fight since 2011. Mm-hmm. In that time frame, he's lost to Carlos Condit, GSP, Anderson Silva, and has not fought since.
Wow.
Since then,
whoa.
Yeah, 3 Hall of Famers.
A welterweight champion. And let's not act like Robbie Lawler's some scrub. And you guys keep bringing up that he lost 17 years ago. That's
Robbie Lawler's last victory, bro.
Robbie Lawler is a scrub now.
2017 against Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
When's Diaz's last victory?
All right, yeah, 2011.
Before I ankle pick you.
First off, Robbie Lawler went up against Colby Covington and Neil Magny. Nick Diaz is not in their class. Do not act like he's in Colby Covington or Neil Magny's class. Right now, he's not.
No.
In 2021, he's not.
He's not. No one is saying he is, but he's good enough to beat Robbie Lawler.
And Robbie Lawler is good enough to beat him as well. The jury's still out on Nick Diaz. At least Robbie Lawler's been active recently.
Here's the best part. Here's the best part about this fight. Questions get answered. The time for talk is over.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, historically, this panel seems to be, not everyone on the panel, but historically, it seems like people are low on the Diaz brothers. That's what it seems like. Typically, when we talk about these fights. Not Nader. I'm not saying you, Nader. I'm just talking in general. Historically,
are we talking Nate Diaz and Leon? Is that why we're low?
Historically speaking, this panel here is low on the Diaz brothers. I'm here to tell you, Nick Diaz, for those of you who don't remember, Nick Diaz is better than Nate Diaz. He is. Nick Diaz, in my opinion, is going to shock a lot of people tonight. I don't think he fights. He's going to fight for contend for a belt in the future and anything like that. But he wins this fight. Robbie Lawler is. I agree with everything he said. Why am I fighting Robbie again? I've already beat this guy. Already knocked him out. What are we proving?
I don't think it's a shock if Diaz wins, though.
No,
I don't think it's a shock.
I think that's the point. What he said. That's why he said, if I lose this fight, then he's like, get me back in here.
He said give Lawler a title shot.
He said, it shows you how outdated he is with actual what's going on in the UFC. But that's what you love about the Diaz brothers. They don't care. They say what they feel. But at the end of the day, he says he beats Robbie Lawler. He thinks he's better than Robbie Lawler anywhere. Was Robbie Lawler going to wrestle Nick Diaz?
No, he can ground and pound him.
Submission. Oh, okay.
He can't ground and pound.
If he goes to the ground, he's getting submitted.
Oh, please.
He's gonna get arm triangle, ankle pick, anything I can do to Daniel, he'll do to Robbie Lawler.
You have Diaz.
I want some rubber guard.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
No, I don't.
I sense Diaz bias. I sense it.
I'm calling it out.
I sense it.
I'm not Diaz biased. What I am, though, I'm a realist. People hype up the Diaz brothers. We need to pump the brakes on just supporting someone who has not fought since January 31st, 2015. Come on. Give me a break.
It's been 2,500 days since he's been punched before.
All I'm saying is that there's not probably since he's been punched before. No, I don't.
Since he's been punched in a real fight.
I've seen him. I've seen him in training camps and stuff like that, training with Tyson Fury and those guys as well. So
and Andre Ward too.
And Andre Ward as well. So I think people need to get their facts straight. But at the end of the day, I think that it would not shock me one bit if Nick Diaz finished him. I think there's a reason why the UFC put this fight together. Why it's considered a Nick Diaz comeback. Sure. At the end of the day, you look at the landscape of the UFC, it only made sense for Nick Diaz to come back and fight a Matt Brown. Matt Brown is too dangerous for Nick Diaz to fight at this point. Because I think Matt Brown would finish Nick Diaz. But Robbie Lawler is a good fight for him. Because why? You've already beat the guy. Why else? Well, the guy is pretty much the same. Like at this point, he's pretty much the same. Daly, you're high on Robbie Lawler's fight. Questions get answered. We'll see. We have two more fights we need to talk about, though. Valentina Shevchenko is defending her belt against Lauren. What's her name? Her nickname?
Lucky.
Lauren Lucky Murphy. And Lauren Lucky Murphy. Let's just get this quick because we want to get to the main event and watch Lauren Murphy actually win tonight because we speed through this one. But Daly, who you got?
I got Shevchenko by unanimous decision. I think she just rolls through her but doesn't stop her.
Daniel?
Pretty easy. Shevchenko here.
Nader?
Valentina. That's it.
Matt?
Valentina, third round KO.
Dash?
This is the only fight I have no notes on, so Valentina, easy.
Yep. I'm going with Valentina Shevchenko as well, although, there's no although. Just Valentina. Alexander Volkanovski is defending his belt. I say belt because Max Holloway is the true champ of this division against Brian Ortega. Guys, this is an exciting fight. These guys have been beefing, have had a lot of bad blood. This fight got canceled, got put on again after these two were both the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. Nader, we're going to let you start this one off because you, sir, have a bold take. So let's hear it.
I wish my man Dorian was here to back me up, but, it's pretty much going to be a 5-on-1 because I'm taking Brian Ortega to become the new champion of the UFC featherweight division. And let me just say this. You can hate on me for this pick. You can say Volkanovski's more well-rounded. He's this, he's that, he's blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Volk is Volkanovski. He can go – Volkanovski can do whatever he wants. But Ortega, when you really think about it, we saw him against TKZ. Many people were doubting him, and what did he do? He came and he destroyed TKZ. And that's after – and people forget, Ortega is a completely new fighter. Get that image of what you had with Max Holloway and get that completely out of your head because that's the Brian Ortega of old and that's the Brian Ortega of no more. He has a new camp. He has new coaches. He has a new mentality when it comes to fighting, and he has a new mentality when it comes to life. So we've only seen Brian Ortega evolve and evolve and evolve, and we just still haven't seen him as a new fighter, and I'm trusting. Maybe if this fight happened in March, I would be choosing Volkanovski. But that's not going to be April, but that's not going to be happening. I'm choosing Brian Ortega to shock the world. I do think he could potentially get a finish. I'm going to say he gets a submission in the later rounds, and I think he shocks the world. Malik's getting ready to go off, but I think he shocks the world, and he does win and he becomes the featherweight champion.
Daly, who you got in this fight?
Alexander Volkanovski. That 19-win fight streak speaks for itself. If the fight stays standing, which I think it will, it favors Volkanovski. Yes, Ortega has changed camps. He's looked better in his most recent fight, but Volkanovski is a legitimate threat in the 145-pound division, has not lost since May 2013. Ortega hasn't really showed me anything on the feet that I think he can beat Alexander Volkanovski. With that being said, though, I think it is going to be a split decision win for Volkanovski. I think it's going to be a close fight. Might even be my fight of the night, but I do think Volkanovski gets it done.
Daniel.
Yeah, I'm taking Volkanovski. I think all around he's the better fighter. Ortega, like when you look at their 2 fights against Holloway, or I guess 3 fights against Holloway, Ortega got dominated, and Volkanovski, while yes, you could say Holloway won both of those fights, Volkanovski still threw or landed more punches, right? On the ground, he's still a better fighter. So the only real path to victory is, as Nader said, if he somehow gets a submission, gets Volkanovski in a bad position on the ground. But Volkanovski is too much of a balanced fighter. I think I'm just taking Volkanovski here.
Mac.
I've got Volkanovski as well. I think it's going to be an incredibly close fight. I am anxious to see how Volkanovski will look off his back if Ortega takes him down. I definitely am interested to see how he responds to that. But I think as long as it stays on the feet, I think Volkanovski is going to do what he has to do to stay far apart and win his points.
Dash.
I got Volk. I think the word all around, or the words all around, have been used 3 or 4 times already, but that's what I see when I watch Volk fight. He's an all around fighter. T-City is good. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. I think one of the first fights I ever watched, the first main event was Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway. And while this is a completely different Ortega, Max Holloway is also completely different, and Volkanovski questionably beat him just recently, and he beat a great version of Max Holloway. He beat Sweet Feet Max Holloway, not the Holloway of old. So I think Volk is just he wins fights. That's what he does. He's going to go out there and he's going to find a way to win the fight. It's going to be a good scrap. I like the potential fight of the night stuff here, but even still, I think this could end up not actually being too exciting of a fight. And Volk could just kind of waltz his way through this 5-round bout and retain his belt.
In my head, guys, I kind of know how this fight is going to go down. Like, I keep seeing a scenario in which Volkanovski just tears up Brian Ortega's legs. He just tears up Brian Ortega's legs in the first round into the second round, and I just think at that point it'll be very hard for Ortega to move, and then I think Volk will let off some big strikes, similar to the fashion and what he did to Holloway. Right? We know Volk likes to throw his kicks and he throws strong. Yeah, it's weird because I actually like Brian Ortega, and I'm actually rooting for him in this fight. I actually would like to see him become champion because I think I don't think Volk is the true featherweight champion. I think Max Holloway is, and I would love to see Ortega versus Max again because all because I know Max would Max. But
pause, Nader. Wait.
Nader, why are you shaking your head?
Yeah, wait.
I'm not saying Ortega would win, but I am saying that Ortega is a new man.
Listen,
and you guys are all doubting that.
When someone has you when someone is fighting you in the UFC, and they're literally giving you lessons while the fight.
What did I say? I said.
You guys remember
get that image out of your mind. Get that image out of your mind.
He grabbed Ortega's hands and told him to put his hands up, and then began to tee off on him. I like what he did to Calvin Kattar, like the exact same thing. So that's why I think that this new version of Max, nobody wants to fight. To be completely honest with you. At the end of the day, Volkanovski wins this fight going away. But again, I would like to see Ortega win. We'll see. Guys, that is pretty much our UFC card. And again, just to recap some of our picks, we have it up here. If you guys are missing it at all, these are all of our picks for the upcoming UFC card. We're pretty excited to get this thing going and to see how this whole thing shakes out. But other than that, guys, is there any fight in particular that you're pretty excited for? Like, what's your most exciting fight on this card? Anybody want to go first? You can.
I'll go first.
You can go back.
Mine is Medic and Turner. I just think that Medic has so much promise, and I think that Turner's his first real test. I think that's going to be a nice little – that'll be good for the division. That's a good fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to go with Rosenstrike Blades. That has a lot of heavyweight implications on the line. Maybe not immediate, but in the future. That's the fight I got to go with.
I'm going to go with Hooker and Nasrat. I think that either way, whatever way that fight goes, it's going to be exciting, and I'm just excited to see how that fight turns out.
Although my personal pick for fight of the night has to either go to Medic and Turner or Nasrat and Hooker, the fight I'm most excited for has to be the main event. There's been so much implications on the line. This whole Ultimate Fighter season was dedicated to this fight, the whole build-up, and now we really get to see what Brian Ortega can take his game to with all the changes that he's made. And I'm hoping he wins tonight and that I make all of you look foolish.
I got Medic versus Turner for my fight of the night. I think, again, I said it before, that it reminds me of Fizzy of Green, and that's what I see happening again.
Just so I'm not regurgitating the same information, I'm looking forward to Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler. I'm really looking forward to that fight. And I also am looking forward to Valentina Shevchenko going against Lauren Murphy. I actually am looking forward to that fight. I know you're laughing, Nader, but at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to it because, like, it's good to see where the champ is right now and in terms of her challengers and see where they are. Because, like, when you're at the top for so long, again, the fighters start to train strictly to beat you. You know what I mean? Strictly to beat you. And I think that after a while, you don't get repetitive, but I think that I'm hoping to see an evolved version, another evolved version of Valentina tonight, personally. And we obviously want to see Valentina versus Amanda Nunes one last time. Daniel, is there any perfect betting parlay piece you think you would go with for the people here that are going to watch this or are watching this?
Perfect? There is no such thing as a perfect bet, but I think for sure Dawkins, I think I'm taking him TKO or KO, not in any specific round. I think that's pretty much, I love that pick. You also got to throw in Shevchenko in there. I also threw in Andrade and also Nasrat. I threw in Nasrat just to win, just as a flyer. But those first three, I think you can throw those three in. I know Malik and Michael Daly, we put a couple of yours in the Patreon. So what was your guys' best bets?
I'm going to say that for the Patreon for me. But Daly, what about you?
Well, I'll say Dawkins and Shevchenko were definitely two of them because I think in terms of the scale favoring or weighing one way, I think it's just too big not to pick those two. So I'm going to go with Valentina Shevchenko by decision. I think actually no, I had it by KO and Dawkins by KO as well.
So I had I wasn't going to say it, but I'll give you two of mine. I have I think this is a good parlay piece for you guys out there. Jessica Andrade, Chris Dawkins, and Matthew Simelsberger. I think if you're
that's what I was gonna say. I was about to go Simelsberger, Dawkins, Andrade. That's my big three.
Yeah, I think if you're looking
Valentina.
Yeah.
Valentina doesn't really add much to the parlay with that minus 2,500 or whatever it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It adds something.
I got
it adds something.
Sure. It is kind of a lock, so you can throw it on, but yeah, definitely like Andrade, Simelsberger, Dawkins. It's a good big three.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we appreciate you for tuning in for the show. Make sure you guys download the TWSN mobile app, subscribe to the TWSN YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms, and we hope you guys enjoy UFC 266, and we'll see if Nick Diaz, can pull one out and shock the Dalys of the world. But all right, guys, until then, we'll see you next time. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Football Sunday, and we'll be talking to you next pay-per-view card.
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet.